Hello Floridini and welcome to another episode of Vita in Florida. Today we are actually going to talk about the CAMLICA Mosque. So if you went back and actually looked at the previous video, you will be able to see the CAMLICA Tower. These are located both in Istanbul, Turkey, and they are on the Asian side of Istanbul. The reason why we even came and found out about these two areas is because from our apartment, our Airbnb, we were able to see at night this building, which was the tower, which had all these different lights, and it was huge, and the lights kept changing and swirling around it. And we were wondering what it was. We Googled it and we found out that it's this radio tower called the CAMLICA Tower. And from our Airbnb, we could also see the CAMLICA Mosque, which is this huge mosque, also seeable from the European side. And it seemed pretty close to the CAMLICA Tower from afar, right? Except that was actually not the case. So let's go ahead and talk about what the CAMLICA Mosque is and how hard it actually was from the CAMLICA Tower to get to the CAMLICA Mosque. Well, I think you need to know prior to go to the Asian side and to see these two locations is that the Asian side is inhabited by all the actual real Turkish people. So it's more a modern area versus the old Istanbul in the European side. Everybody who's gonna live in the Asian side is gonna be more people going to work, like regular people, everyday life people. Once you cross the Bosphorus over by ferry and you arrive there, we had to take a bus to make it to the CAMLICA Tower. Once we were trying to get from the tower to the mosque, it seemed like we were stuck in this town called, I believe, Kami. Kami is actually the area. That's why it's called CAMLICA Tower and CAMLICA Mosque. We just couldn't find a way to get from one place to the next. We asked several people. Nobody seemed that they were understanding what we were trying to say. There were no buses and public transportation to get from one to the other one, or I don't know why we didn't find any. It seemed almost impossible to make it to the mosque, but we were determined. We did see some taxi drivers. However, for some reason, they were not taking us into the cab. But thank goodness, a good soul finally stopped and took us from the tower to the mosque, which was about, I want to say 10-15 minutes drive, and the actual cab ride was really cheap. So we made it there. We saw this beautiful mosque. We actually went inside the mosque. As soon as you're arriving to the actual mosque, you can see how stunning and majestic this mosque is. It is huge, and it just happened to be around sunset once we got there, so you could see all these pictures and the beauty of it. It was gorgeous. But you know, in order to get to the mosque, in this one particularly, they did divide women and males. So the males were able to go on the main floor at the bottom with the rabbi, or whatever you call it. I'm not sure what you call the priest for Muslim people. Sorry, the ignorance. But they were, all the males, they were chanting and they were kneeling. You could hear them chanting outside of the mosque, and they have these huge megaphones, and it's all over the town. It's just surreal. It just gets you, you know. Istanbul really got me. So I highly recommend that anybody interested in going, that you do go at least once in your life. Before you go inside the mosque, everybody needs to take their shoes off. They do have lockers, which they're extremely well organized. So you take your shoes off, you go in barefoot. Women have to wear a veil. So my sister and I had to wear this scarf over our head, and we looked a little weird, but whatever, we weren't really prepared for it, but we went in it. And again, the males were underneath we had to go up the stairs and be with the rest of the women. Women with women, males with males. And it was funny because the males could not look at us women because we were above them. So we could look at them if we wanted to from the terrace, but they could not look up because they wouldn't be able to see us. And that is to avoid any distraction. And so that once you're praying, you are only thinking about Allah. Unlike the Blue Mosque and the Hagia Sophia Mosque, this mosque is specifically for them. So all the people who were actually in this mosque, they were the real Turkish people, whatever they were from. So you could see that they were really serious. They were looking at us kind of like, we know you're tourists, what the heck are you doing here? Because not many tourists go to this mosque because it's so far from the real Istanbul touristy area, if you so want to call it. On the way back, thank goodness we found a cab. Whew. And it took about, 15-20 minutes from the mosque to the ferry, where we went around town there a little bit. Then we took the ferry and went back into the European side where we were staying. So overall, it was really beautiful. The taxi ride were extremely cheap on the Asian side. I mean, unbelievably cheap. And I do recommend it if you do have a lot of time that you can spend in Istanbul. If you only have a few days, do not do this. Do not, listen very well, do not do this trip because you're gonna waste your whole day and it's just too complicated. This is all my friends from Vita in Florida in Istanbul on the Asian side. Thank you for watching, and please, as always, remember to subscribe to my channel as it does help my video to be broadcasted to more people. Thank you so much, and again, baci baci da Vita in Florida.